Hi, I'm Tom. I'm currently a second year student studying CGI and VFX in university. I'm going to be taking you through the process of creating this artwork of a robotic security guard in Blender. I'll be sharing all the techniques I used to create this image, from initial concept to final render, and hopefully you can benefit from some of the techniques used. The first stage is creating a sketch of the idea, using the rule of thirds and the Golden ratio to ensure the image is aesthetically pleasing and guides the eye to the focus of the image. This stage is crucial for planning the artwork, as it allows you to create a composition and design of the final piece. These can always change later on, but it lets you focus on more details later rather than needing to find a composition that fits what's already been made. The idea for this artwork was a robotic security guard who fell asleep at their desk. Once I had a sketch, I started putting together a mood board to establish the tone and look of the piece. At first, the mood board will be a big mix of lots of different ideas. I like the lighting in these images. The next stage is blocking out the scene in Blender using primitives and basic modeled objects. This helps me visualize the composition and how the objects will fit together in the final image. In this stage, I also posed a mannequin model to show the pose the security guard will be in. One other thing I did was establish the lighting, so I had a general idea of the mood moving forward. Now it's time to design the robotic leg, which is the main part of the security guard that people will see, as the rest of it is covered with a uniform. I sketch out the design, paying attention to how real joints would work, and ensuring the leg will be able to be rigged later on. After sketching, I move on to modelling the leg. For this I use subdivisional modelling, which allows for smooth edges, or emulate the way objects in the real world don't have actual sharp corners. However, when using subdivisional modelling, it's important to keep everything to a good clean edge flow, and quads. This stage takes a while, as there is a lot of geometry for small parts of the scene, and it has to follow mechanical limitations so it can be rigged. I used a base model I had previously created for parts like the foot. I make sure the leg is detailed enough to look realistic, but not too detailed that it will create visual noise in the final image. I made sure to add a lot of images to my mood board to see how the joints would move and what mechanical parts are usually used in a design like this. Now it's time to rig the leg. This involves setting up bones that will be constrained to move in the correct way, such as the pistons sliding in and out, but still attached to the rest of the leg. I also set the rotation limitations so the leg can only move in the way it's supposed to, such as up and down, but not side to side. Rigging takes some time, but is crucial in creating a realistic pose for the final image. This leg asset can also be used in other artworks later on. After rigging, I used Marvelous Designer to create clothing for the guard. Marvelous Designer allows me to create clothing, then simulate it to the position that the guard would be in, showing it looks realistic and moves naturally. Once the simulation is complete, I clean up the clothing to work with the legs and correct any UV issues. I then created a basic robot hand out of leg parts. This will hardly be seen, so it's not that important. I also UV unwrap the leg so it can be textured in Substance Painter. After UVs were created for all the parts of the guard, I textured everything in Substance Painter, creating materials that will be used to make the objects look realistic and match the mood of the scene. Texturing is crucial in making the scene look believable and making the objects in the scene stand out. I modelled the props that were planned out in the base stage like the phone, as well as some new ones. The phone cable was created using the screw modifier, as well as a curve modifier to conform it to the shape of the curve. More details were added like the headphones, drink cans and cups, some of which were copied from previous projects I had made. The detailing stage is often quite tricky, as you have to find or make things to populate the scene in a realistic way. I decided I want more warm lighting, so I used the sky to make a warm sunset or sunrise. With this lighting in place, the colour scheme of the rest of the scene was going to be orange and grey. Adding in a background through the window made the scene feel more real and set in an actual world. I added in a second robot climbing over the fence as a way to build the world and add to the story of the image. Then I filled out the screens with rendered images of the robot climbing the fence, and a few other random images that fit the colour scheme and would look like other camera views. I then created a face for the robot and rendered the image. The final processing was done in Photoshop, using filters and adding things like grain, vignetting and glow. And here is the final image. Thanks for watching.